the leader in talk radio on the Internet, right here on K98Talk.com.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls, start saving thousands in interest and fees, and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
All right, folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
Wrong way. Welcome to the place.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
The Internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Wow. Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Let's get started.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rick Robinson, host of America Off the Rails. I'd like to welcome you to our inaugural edition here on Red Nation Rising Radio. At this point, we are going to be doing things a little bit differently today. This is not a live broadcast. It is a pre-record, but I thought what better way to celebrate Independence Day than to talk about freedom. So my guest on this special edition of America Off the Rails will be Nicholas Sarwark, the head of the national head of the Libertarian Party. Do hope you enjoy the show, and we'll be back with you tomorrow.
We will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period.
This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
Oh, welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy. Come expect just to admit a mistake. We're paying off election.
Keep on doing what you do, Rick. You're my favorite host.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. You're listening to America Off the Rails with your host, Rick Robinson.
All right, folks. Well, happy Monday evening. That's right. It's Monday. We've survived the beginning of another week. It is, almost said September, June 20th, 2016, just a few minutes past the hour of 10 Eastern right here on K98 Talk, and we are live right now. Now, I do have a special guest who'll be joining us here in just a moment, but I do want to say hello to everybody who may be listening on one of the many affiliates that we have. So we have K98 Talk, the Spark Radio Network, AMFM247.com, SHR Media, the ICRN Network, and of course WNJC 1360 AM out of Philadelphia. Just want to take a moment to welcome everybody to the show. Do hope you guys have had a great Monday, and look at it this way, we've got the hardest day of the week, at least in my opinion, in the books. Now, without further ado, we do have Nicholas Sarwark, the chair of the Libertarian National Committee, on with us now. He's going to be hanging out for the whole show, so I want to not waste too much time. You guys hear me talk all the time, so I'm going to go ahead and bring Nicholas on here, and we're going to get a chance to maybe get to know a little bit about him, maybe a little bit more about the Libertarian Party, because I know we've got some folks that are maybe looking at it for the first time, because the Democrats and the Republicans seem to have gone just a few more shades of crazy, so we've got some new eyes in new places, so maybe, just maybe, we can finally start making a legitimate third-party run, but who knows. All right, so Nicholas, go ahead. You're live with us right now. Mic's open whenever you're ready to say hello.
Thanks so much for having me on, Rick. I really appreciate it.
You are very, very welcome. This has been something we've been trying to coordinate now for a while, so I'm glad we were able to get you on. I know Jess was trying to get an interview set up with you at the convention, but I heard you guys' convention was pretty hectic, so just glad that you guys were flexible with us and we were able to be flexible with you. It is an honor to have you here. Also, one affiliate we forgot to mention, good evening, iHeartRadio. How are you? All right, so without further ado, as I told you before we went live, normally, because I don't have guests that often, when I do have guests, I try to make the show that I have them on as much about them as possible. So just in case you've got folks that maybe aren't that familiar with you or maybe not that familiar with the Libertarian Party, why don't we start with a little bit about you, what it is that got you involved in the Libertarian National Committee and the Libertarian Party in general, and kind of go from there. And then, of course, we'll start talking 2016 because we got to talk about that.
Yeah, so I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, and my father was active in the Libertarian Party back in the early 90s. And he took me to local party meetings in Phoenix when I was probably 10 or 12 years old. I got involved in what I was hearing. I borrowed some of his books on libertarianism and realized that really spoke to me, that libertarianism was what I was about. And so I've been a libertarian since I was 10 or 12 and really have never been anything else. When after I graduated from college in 98, I got active in the Maryland State Party. I was state chair in Maryland. When I moved to Colorado a few years later, I ended up being vice chair in Colorado at the time when we shepherded the legalization of recreational marijuana for the first time in the United States since Prohibition. And then in 2014 in Columbus, I actually ran for chairman of the Libertarian National Committee, which is basically the national party, and won. And then I just won re-election in Orlando over Memorial Day weekend. So I've got another 2 years, and it's been a wild ride. You know, the thing that inspired me about the Libertarian Party is it's really the only political party in this country that's set up to give voice to the voiceless. You know, we stand for all freedoms of all people all of the time. We don't make exceptions based on your religion or, you know, your class, your color. We basically stand up for the rights of everybody to live their life and pursue happiness any way they choose, as long as they don't hurt anyone else and they don't take their stuff. And that's something that's sorely missing from the politics that the two old parties are presenting. And I think that the American people are thirsty for that option.
You know, I have a friend and fellow host here on K98 Talk who actually has mentioned the fact that she has been libertarian now for a while and kind of swung back towards the conservative side of things in the hopes that we could actually put someone decent in from the GOP this year. But she had mentioned once she saw how crazy everything had gone that, and this is something that we've been joking about back and forth for a while, she's like, it's okay to vote libertarian, it only feels weird the first time. You know, kind of a bit of a double entendre kind of thing. But honestly, you know, as someone who has recently made the transition from conservative to libertarian, I have to say, it's been a bit of an adjustment from me. So as far as on the overall spectrum of the minimalist, as far as, you know, recognizing that there needs to be some government but as little as possible, to the anarchist side of things, because there are some pretty broad spectrums inside the Libertarian Party. Where do you feel like you fall into that as a whole?
You know, I think that the end goal, the vision, the shining city on a hill of libertarians is an idea of a society where everything is voluntary and everything is peaceful, where nobody forces anyone else to do anything against their will. That's the ideal. That's what we strive for. The reality is that, you know, we didn't end up with a government that is hopelessly overbearing, that, you know, regulates everything from how much water can come out of our shower head to how big a toilet flush we can have, to, you know, who we get to marry, to whether or not we get to defend ourselves with a gun, to what we get to put in our own body. We didn't get there overnight, and I don't think that we'll get away from it and back towards the ideal of the Founding Fathers overnight either. So I think that that's kind of the way I balance it, is I have a clear vision in my head of what would be a perfect world, and then, you know, I have some realism about how far we can move and how fast. And, you know, it's a question of going as fast as the people will let you.
No, and I completely agree. I was just kind of curious as to where you felt like you fell in the overall spectrum, because I have to tell you, I have some friends that are libertarians that are full-on anarchists, and even though they're my friends, they kind of scare me. I'm just being honest.
Well, you know, they shouldn't scare you that much, because most of the anarchists that I know are dedicated to that idea of the non-aggression principle, the idea that you don't get to initiate force or aggression against anyone else. So, you know, while their ideas may scare you a little bit, you should be fairly confident in the fact that they would never use any sort of force to force them on you. So they're stuck trying to convince you that they're right, which, you know, that's the beauty of libertarianism, and that's what makes it hard. You know, the two old parties basically are fighting over which one of them gets to be in charge of your life, which one of them gets to pass laws that tell you how to live. And that's why the culture wars get so vicious, is because they know that whoever wins is going to tell the other people how to live. And libertarians just don't go in for that. You know, we recognize that I may have some ideas about what an ideal society is, but we draw the line at having the government enforce my ideas about how you should live. And that's something that I think makes us just better than the other political parties.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's been an adjustment for me, and I have to say, if the Republican Party hadn't gone completely insane, I'm not sure I would have made the jump. But I have to say, the other reason that I honestly finally decided to make the jump is, I'm not sure if you're that familiar with how politics work in Oklahoma. I'm sure as the national chair you probably are. But our elections are a bit archaic. The only two parties that are typically recognized in any election cycle are typically the Republicans and the Democrats. For the first time since, I think it was 1984, the Libertarian Party has actually been recognized, and they have lowered the threshold to be able to keep them on the ballot to now we have to earn 2.5% of the vote to be able to remain on the ballot for future elections. So I'm trying to do everything I can to push that, not only to make sure that Oklahomans start getting another choice, because most of them don't even realize that there are other parties out there. I guess that's the one thing that's a little different for me. I've lived in now this is when I was a teenager, but it still made me familiar with a lot of things. I've lived in both Seattle and Delaware, and it made me aware that there are a lot of political parties out there that some of the folks in the centers of the country really don't even know are there. And it's just one of the things that I honestly think needs to be worked on overall, because I think the biggest problem that we have, and you can tell me what you think about that in a second, is that with it just being the Democrats and the Republicans, it's kind of become a brand war, where they've kind of, over the years, become an amalgamation of each other, and all they really do is tell you whatever they think you want to hear to get elected, and then they typically do whatever they want to do once they're in there. And to me, our election cycles have become Einstein's definition of insanity. We continue to repeat the same results by pulling the same two levers over and over again, hoping for different results each time, and it never happens. But maybe I'm just getting old and cynical. Who knows?
Yeah, no, it's been since the year 2000. That was the last time that the Libertarian Party was recognized in Oklahoma. And we made a concerted push in the fall of 2015 going into 2016, and actually was out there at the Capitol for the turn-in of our petition signatures. We spent over $100,000 and got the signatures of over 42,000 Oklahomans who wanted a political choice. So, you know, I'm keenly aware of how broken the Oklahoma political system has been for so long, and I'm glad to see that we're making progress towards actually letting Oklahomans be who they are. You know, I went to a dinner after we turned in signatures, and there were people telling stories about how they had spent 16 years during which their government didn't let them identify as who they were. You know, these were people who were longtime libertarians who were basically told by their government that you can't identify as who you are. You can't register as a libertarian. You can't say, this is who I am. And some of the stories literally brought tears to my eyes. You know, you had a government that was systematically suppressing an alternative voice that was actually very popular. And so I'm so glad that, you know, we've been able to do that and get to the point where we're likely to have ballot access in all 50 states and the District of Columbia this year, so that every single American will have a libertarian option to vote for in November. You know, not all of them will do it, but I think, you know, we do this not for special favors, not for corporate cronies. We don't really buy into that whole lobbyist thing. We do this to stand up for our fellow Americans and make sure that they understand that if you just want to live your life the way you want to raise your kids the way you want to run your business the way you want, there is a political party that stands for you, even if you're not a special interest, even if you don't have a lobbyist, even if you're not, you know, connected. There is a political party for you.
You know, and I think that's important because I mean, if you look at the main driving theme between the Democratic and the Republican side of things this year, that's been their thing all along. This whole cycle is, they're supposed to be the party for the little guy. I mean, each of them are basically saying the same thing. And the simple fact of the matter is neither one of them actually believes it anymore. They're just basically telling you whatever they think that you need to hear to be able to get them to cast your vote. And I think that's the thing that I'm the most disconcerted with, and another reason why I've just decided, instead of continuing to spend the rest of 2016 just railing against both Hillary and Trump, because I can't really stand either one of them, I want to start doing something with the platform that I've built here to start trying to bring folks an alternative, because nobody really feels like there is one. And I think that's the thing that worries me, because each time we get to this point, everyone always says, well, maybe next cycle will be the time that we finally decide to push for libertarian, because it's too late to do it this cycle. And the thing that I have said on pretty much every show ever since the numbers started coming out, if you look at the numbers, about 60% of the American populace doesn't like either one of the two main party frontrunners. So why in this cycle could we not finally put together a coherent third-party runner and at least make a stab at it, when everybody I talk to says, well, there's just no way. Maybe in 2020, but just not 2016. There's no way. Because I have been called every name under the sun, because as someone who aligns more with conservative values, I will not support Trump, and I also cannot support Hillary. I've actually literally had people tell me that they're going to put me in a boxcar to get me ready for ovens, and that's not even a joke. And granted, most of this happens on social media, and I understand that people on social media, they're usually hiding behind a keyboard, so they're a lot braver than they typically would be in real life. But there are some scary things going on in social media in regards to this election, and it's another reason why I really started wanting to try to find a way to start bringing people an alternative, which is why I talked to Jess and a few other folks and said that I wanted to start making the focus more about the Libertarian Party and movement, so that maybe, just maybe, we could start waking people up in a different direction. Because I think, honestly, the scariest thing for me was when someone who was a Trump supporter used my former catchphrase against me, because I used to close every show by stating that it was time to get off the couch, put down the remote, and get involved. Someone who obviously used to listen to my show actually used that line against me and said that thanks to my advice, he was voting for Trump. That was painful. I'm just going to be honest. That really hurt.
Yeah, sometimes you give good advice and people don't take it the direction that you think they ought to. I think that it's a good point. I have made it a point to not mention the names of the presumptive Republican and Democratic nominees as much as humanly possible, because I understand that the opportunity this election cycle comes a lot from their negatives. The presumptive Republican nominee in a poll last week, his negative numbers hit 70, which I didn't even know was possible for someone to be that unpopular. And, the Democratic frontrunner is not far behind him. And so, the opportunity is created by having that many people looking for an alternative, but you have to give them something positive to vote for. And I just did an interview today with The Hill, a newspaper that covers politics in D.C., and pointed out to the reporter, we have the Libertarian Party between Governor Gary Johnson and Governor Bill Weld as president and vice president. We have the most experienced, sane, sensible, rational, adult in the room ticket of any of the political parties that are running somebody for president. We have more executive experience than both of the frontrunners in the other parties combined. Neither of them have been an executive as far as any kind of government position. You've got a reality show star and a lackluster Secretary of State, who was a lackluster senator before that. And so, not only are we presenting people with an alternative if they're just so disgusted with their other choices, but we're presenting an alternative that's actually more qualified and rational and sane than anything that the old parties are putting up. So, we have a real opportunity this time. And I like to point out, the largest block of voters in this country are the people who don't vote. They have a majority. And then beyond that, it's the people who choose not to associate with either of the two old political parties. So if we just get those people, I'm going to inauguration parties. And I think that presenting that positive message is the way that we have to move forward from here.
Yeah, and I completely agree, and I'm not going to lie. I spent actually the first few months after it was pretty well predetermined that Trump was going to be the nominee going the complete other direction. And one day I just kind of woke up and said, you know what? I can rail on both of these folks and probably get pretty good ratings, but that's not what I started this for. So that's when we started making the conscious decision to shift things a little bit, because not only do I have this show that's pretty popular and kind of goes out all over the place, I'm actually general manager of the station that we're on right now, so I have lots of folks that have a multitude of voices, some of which are Trump supporters, others are actually Democrats, believe it or not. And then we also have a lot of conservatives who are not part of the Trump train. So I have tried to keep things as balanced as possible and tried to give as many different viewpoints and voices as possible. But one of the things that I've been trying to push everybody to do is try to find a way to make things more positive, because it's really easy to take the negative route and get good ratings, or it's really easy to just basically glam onto the biggest stories of the day, and all of a sudden you've got thousands of people listening and you've got new attention and everything else. But it's kind of important to me to try to make sure that we do something a little bit different, especially around here. So we've actually got to take a quick break. We're nearing the bottom of the hour. When we come back, though, I actually want to take some time to delve a little bit more into the ticket for the Libertarian Party for 2016. Maybe give some folks some insight into both the VP and the presidential nominee. Maybe give them some more information, which maybe they don't know. I'm sure you, as the Libertarian chair, probably know more about them than most. So I would like to take at least a few minutes when we come back to talk about that, and then we'll just see where the rest of the show takes us. On that note, folks, it is about time for us to go ahead and pay some bills. We'll be right back here in just a couple minutes. You're listening to America Off the Rails right here with my guest, Nicholas Sarwark, chair of the Libertarian National Committee, right here on K98 Talk, also simulcast on K98Talk.org, going out over AMFM247.com, WNJC 1360 AM out of Philadelphia, SHR Media, and outlets everywhere. We'll be right back here in just a minute.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to a special Independence Day edition of America Off the Rails Radio.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls, start saving thousands in interest and fees, and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Hi, this is Sheriff Sam Page of Rockingham County, North Carolina, and you're listening to Red Nation Rising Radio.
All right, folks, we are back. We are live. My oh my, already into the last half of the show. Where oh where does the time go? All right, still with my guest, Nicholas Sarwark. We've been discussing the Libertarian National Committee, why it was that he got involved with the Libertarian Party, and basically what he told you, what he told us, just in case you're just tuning in, is basically he felt like that was basically where he belonged from the beginning. Kind of aligned with libertarian beliefs since I believe he said age 12, if memory serves. Still with us here live right here on K98 Talk, and we're going to actually delve now into maybe hopefully a little bit more information and insight into the process that led to the selection of Gary Johnson as well as the vice presidential pick. I just have to say, as somebody who's kind of newly really looking at the movement and the party as a whole, I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but I was really, really disappointed over the Adrian Peterson, or not Adrian, good Lord, did I really just say Adrian Peterson? Anyway, he
could run that fast, man. He probably would have gotten the nomination.
But yeah, so anyway, the Peterson run, because
Austin?
Yeah, Austin, yeah.
You were an Austin Peterson fan?
Actually, I really kind of was, and like I said, I was still pretty heavily in the Republican camp until I realized that, as we were talking during the break, when I realized that Reince Priebus had basically sold the party down the river in exchange for what he hoped was going to be great ratings, I really realized it was about time to start looking at other options. And then, I mean, honestly, I got to say, one of the biggest things for me, and I will be completely upfront, I don't know if you've listened to the show before, I am really personally against abortion. However, I don't try to hold that view against anyone else, and I also understand that the genie's never really going to get put back in the bottle. I would just prefer that that maybe abortion go back to the original intent of Roe v. Wade, which was safe, legal, and rare. So one of the things that I actually liked about Austin Peterson was he was the first person that I've ever really heard inside the Libertarian Party actually giving a complete pro-life stance. I actually was a little against his death penalty stance, but I could kind of understand where he was coming from with that based on the fact that he does have an issue with abortion. So that, among other things, were actually what really started having me pay attention to him. But my understanding is from folks that were there is he kind of left folks feeling a little flat at the convention, but I wasn't there personally, so I honestly don't know.
No, he came in second, and he ran a strong race. Coming into the convention, we got an unprecedented amount of media. You know, at the press conference after the nomination, I think I counted 8 or 10 TV cameras and about 53 reporters. And it was just a madhouse. But coming in, you know, one of the things, I've been to every presidential nominating convention since 2000 in Anaheim. And these were some of the toughest choices and some of the best choices that our delegates have ever had. You know, and the Libertarian Convention, people come in unbound. No one has to vote for anybody. So it really does come down to who can convince them at convention. You know, and everyone was running kind of a different race. They were reaching out to a different demographic. You know, you talk about the pro-life stance. There's been a strong pro-life caucus in the Libertarian Party for as long as I can remember. I actually used to go to local meetings in Maryland with Doris Gordon, who was one of the founders of Libertarians for Life before she passed away. And so, you know, it's always been an issue where we recognize that there are libertarians that have good faith views on both sides, and we try and strike that balance in our platform. But Austin was definitely reaching out to some people that maybe Johnson wasn't, and the hope is that after the nomination, after the convention, that we can all come together and get behind Governor Johnson. I know that it's probably a lot less stressful for Austin now, not running for president. You know, there's a lot of pressure that's involved in doing that, and you get a fair amount of hate mail. And so, you know, being able to focus on your other pursuits is probably a good thing. But he ran a really good race, and he's still involved. He's still active. He endorsed Johnson. He was actually really helpful the other day when we were working on a ballot access crisis in Illinois. I was able to call him up and say, you know, can you mobilize some of your volunteers to come help us put Governor Johnson on the ballot? And he was on it, you know, right on the spot. So I think we came out of convention stronger than we went in.
Yeah, I have to admit, he actually sat down with Jess, one of the hosts over here at the Libertarian Convention, shortly after he didn't get the nomination. And he actually expressed to her, and we've actually ran the interview here on this show as well, but he expressed to her that he was actually kind of relieved that he didn't get the nomination because he felt like he really didn't have a choice but to run, but he just really didn't know for sure if it was honestly 100% what he wanted to do, which he didn't come out and say those exact words, but it was just kind of the impression that you got, that he kind of felt like he had to run and that not necessarily that he wanted to run. And she had asked him if he was considering doing so for 2020, and he was basically like, I'm not so sure about that. So, I mean, I guess overall, one thing that I've learned as I get older is pretty much when things happen, they happen for a reason. And, you know, there are things with Johnson's platform that I'm not entirely comfortable with, but at this point, he is, in my opinion, the best of the three options that are available. I mean, if I could hold my nose and vote for McCain, even if I had issues with him, and also do the same for Romney, I don't see an issue with finally pulling the lever for somebody else that's associated with a completely different party and maybe hopefully trying to see if maybe we can get a different result or at least start moving people in that direction. I guess my question for you, as head of the Libertarian Party at this point at the national level, are you getting some of the same feedback that I'm getting, that people really want to vote Libertarian, but they just don't think the 2016 is going to be the year where they could do it? Or are you hearing different things? Because I have to say that's been a recurring theme with me through social media and kind of ear to the ground type stuff, is everybody really wants another option, but they're just afraid at this point that they have to pick either the D or the R, depending on where their loyalties lie. Otherwise, they're just afraid the country's going to go to crap, so to speak.
Well, having been involved in all the cycles since 2000, I'm actually seeing less of that this cycle than any of the previous ones. And I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that we're starting out from a position where there's a path, albeit it may be a narrow path, but there's a path for Johnson and Weld to take the White House. I mean, look at it this way. In a two-way race, you got to get 51%, right? But in a three-way race, you only have to get 34%. And Johnson was coming into the convention before even being nominated, polling at 10, 11, 12%. That was before even being nominated. Then you put another ex-governor on the ticket. So now we have a ticket that has more executive experience than both of the old party candidates combined, and, things just go up from there. And then once you get past 15%, then the hopelessly corrupt Commission on Presidential Debates still has to put you into the nationally televised presidential debates. Then you're in front of even more people, and the amount of unpopularity and just pure hatred for the old party options, and they're just so terrible that more people are telling me that this is the time that they can vote libertarian than I've ever heard before. Because really, there are a lot of people where you ask them, you say, look, I'm going to put a gun to your head, and you're going to have to pick between either the Republican or Democratic nominee. And I'm getting a lot more that are like, pull the trigger. Just shoot me. They're refusing to choose between Kodos and Kang. They're refusing to choose between the giant douche and the turd sandwich. They're just like, we're not going to do it. We're going to pick something good instead of choosing between two bad things.
Yeah, we have, in one of the Twitter groups that I'm in, someone actually posted a tweet today where they were like, so at this point I have friends that are telling me that I have to choose between, how did she put it? Hang on, let me grab the tweet. It was Sauron and, it was Sauron and Voldemort. You're telling me that I have to choose between Sauron and Voldemort because only one of them can save the country, and in my opinion, they both suck. and
pretty much.
It's happening more and more, and I think that's the thing that I don't get, because you have these diehard loyalists to the D and the R's that they can't see exactly how messed up the whole situation is. And I have to admit, up until this cycle, I was one of those ones that, even during the Romney campaign, was like, look, we have to vote for Romney. But the thing with Romney, and I keep telling this to everybody, because everybody's biggest thing with Romney was, one, he was a Mormon. I don't necessarily have an issue with that because I try not to hold anybody's religion against them. Two was the fact that mass care was kind of the blueprint for Obamacare. The difference is mass care lines up perfectly with the 10th Amendment. I don't care if every single state in the 50 states wants to initiate something like mass care. They have the constitutional imperative to be able to do that should they choose. When the national government wants to take a state-mandated thing and use it as a blueprint to make all the other states do the same exact thing, that violates the 10th Amendment. So that's why, even though everybody was like, well, you're wanting to put the guy who basically gave the footprint to Obamacare into the White House, I'm like, yeah, but it was at the state level. I mean, that makes sense. Because at least then, if the state does something that sucks, you have the option to move. If the entire country does something that sucks, you really don't necessarily have that option. Just saying.
Yeah, but see, the old parties work off of this, and this is where I'm going to get into sort of political geekdom and being a technician of this stuff, as well as having some serious philosophical.
Most of my listeners are political geeks, so knock yourself out.
Yeah, well, so the way that the old parties work is it's a politics of fear and a politics of hate. The trick is they don't have to get you to like your candidate. They have to get you to be too afraid of the other candidate to get off of the plantation. They understand that Mitt Romney is a terrible candidate. Probably a nice human being. I think he's actually friends with our vice presidential nominee because the former Republican governor of Massachusetts club isn't that big. But, not a good candidate, doesn't really embody a lot of conservative principles, kind of a squish, definitely on guns or healthcare or any number of issues, doesn't really appeal to the base. But you get people so worked up about Obama, the secret crypto Muslim who, is going to take over everything, blah, blah, blah. And people say, well, I don't like Romney, but I'm scared of Obama. Or vice versa. I don't like Obama. I don't feel like the first term really turned out the way it was supposed to. He's really not doing anything about closing Guantanamo. We have more wars. Obamacare was a big promise that turned into a big pile of crap. But I'm scared of Mitt Romney. He's a terrible plutocrat who, destroys jobs. So that's how the old parties work. They keep you in the binary system by getting you so afraid of what's that other person going to do I have to stick with this terrible, terrible option, even though I don't believe in them. I don't like them. I don't want them to be president. I just hate the other person more. I'm afraid of the other person more. And that's how they keep you, stuck. And this election presents some opportunities because the politics of fear are actually breaking down. The very paradigm of this person would be worse stops working when you have two people who are that bad. Like, it's really, libertarians have had to use these analogies to try and explain this concept to people for a long time, and then they've always seemed hyperbolic. It's like, if you have a 48% chance of the electric chair or a 48% chance of the lethal injection, or a 1% chance of escaping, are you going to pick electric chair or lethal injection? Because, one of them's likely to win. It's like, no, I'm going to go for the long shot. In this election, you actually have alternatives that are that bad, that they're so unpalatable that, honestly, I run into so many people now who don't care which one of them might end up winning because it's just all awful. We're gonna have a terrible president. So they're really waking up and saying, you know what? Maybe everyone else is dumb enough to vote for a terrible president, but it's not going to be with my consent. I'm not consenting to that. I'm not going to be part of that. I'm going to vote for a sane, honest, rational former governor who managed to, lower people's taxes and get the economy going without, taking away anyone's rights or being bigoted or hateful. Like, that's the guy I'm going to vote for. And yeah, maybe not everybody is going to vote for him too, but I'm going to do it because, voting at some level, it's a moral choice. It's a franchise is something that people have died so we can have that. And to turn it into a horse race is just, it's disrespectful to the very concept of the franchise. Honestly, the way I look at it is this. If you've got a bookie and you have money on an election, then you should definitely do your best to vote for the winner. But if you don't have a bet on it, then you should vote for who you want to be president.
No, I completely agree. And you mentioned something, and this is basically from someone who was coming over from the Republican Party. This was the mindset of the last two election cycles before this one. McCain was the lesser of two evils in regards to him versus Obama. And then Romney was the lesser of two evils between him and Obama because Obama's first term completely sucked. And like you said, the argument's breaking down this time because there legitimately really is no lesser of two evils between the two parties. They both have their own reasons why they legitimately suck. And it's one of the things that I have tried to point out so many times to the diehard supporters on both sides. I'm like, look, at this point, you're asking me if I should either choose a crap sandwich or a crap burrito. Either way, I get crap.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like, if you look at the terrible tragedy that happened in Orlando this last week, and you look at the responses of the three presidential candidates, and you have one candidate who uses it to call for a bunch of new gun control that wouldn't have helped and, is just the same tired policy option she's been pushing forever. You have another candidate that basically said, look, it was a Muslim. I'm right about Muslims. Screw the Muslims. And then you have one candidate that says, look, the authorities are investigating. Let's wait for the dust to settle. Let's figure out what actually happened here before we go rushing into policy options. Honestly, I'm going with that third person. I'm going with Gary Johnson, who's actually acting like an adult. And it doesn't matter to me which dumb, knee-jerk response, the other two candidates went with. They're both wrong. They're both presenting policy prescriptions that have nothing to do with what's actually going on, wouldn't have helped, and just serve to inflame the passions of one group or another in America. So, no, it doesn't matter to me what flavor of dumb you're going to present to me. I'm just not going to vote for dumb, and if it's this flavor or that flavor, it's not going to change my life that much. And that's the other thing that really, you know, voting Libertarian only feels weird the first time. But when we elect Libertarians to local office or state legislator or things like that, nothing bad happens. You know, the world doesn't end. It turns out that, you know, a lot of this stuff kind of runs the way it runs just because of systemic things. So, you know, why not vote for somebody who seems sane and rational and wants to, you know, fight for you having more freedom to run your life rather than fight over who has control to tell you what you have to do. So I think this is a good time to be a libertarian, you know, and the candidates that we put up are some of the most qualified that I've ever seen run for president, period.
Well, I mean, and you are right. They are definitely very qualified. And next to the two candidates from the other parties, they practically look like they have their PhDs in political science, not only executive experience. But it's interesting that you mentioned Trump specifically in his whole resurgence of the Muslim ban, because he actually took it a step further and basically decided when it came to the Second Amendment that the Fifth Amendment didn't necessarily apply, and that he was going to meet with the NRA and say, hey, we should figure out a way to make sure that all these guys that are on the no-fly list can't buy guns, but the no-fly list has absolutely no due process involved in it. So that was another thing where I'm watching this going, okay, so someone who's already basically said they're opposed to the First Amendment, they've already removed one major paper from their events, they've mentioned that if they become president, they're going to go after other papers that may be being unfair to them. Now they're going after the Second Amendment by making sure they don't honor the Fifth Amendment, but this is the person that we're going to try to put in charge of the entire supposed conservative party. I don't think conservative means what it used to.
And then you're trying to tell me that guy's better than that other lady. Like, in what way? You know, like, I don't get it. I don't get how, you know, there shouldn't be secret government lists that you can be put on without due process. Those shouldn't even exist. But the idea that you double down on that and go, yeah, hey, there's a secret list that anyone can throw you on that you can't figure out how to get off of, where there's no due process, and we should use that to take away fundamental rights, and that you have both nominees from the old parties supporting that, that's insane. I mean, that's literally insane. And so I think the American people are waking up to that. And you look at, you know, we just released a press release today. It got picked up as an op-ed on this whole stupid no-fly, no-buy proposal. You have both old party presidential nominees who support this stuff, and all of the gun control proposals that were thrown up in the Senate today got struck down with large margins. So you have the old parties are just so out of step with where the American people are. You know, we cherish our constitutional rights, and they just argue over which one gets to take them and which ones they're going to take first.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess my thing with it is, especially with the no-fly list, one of the things that I kept hearing over and over again from the new-ish Democratic senator that decided to do the filibuster was, you know, we have all these people that can't fly because they're on this no-fly list, but they can buy weapons still. And the first thought, without even consciously realizing it ran through my head, was, look, if you're going to justify a no-fly list, which you shouldn't, the simple fact of the matter is there is no right to fly guaranteed by the Constitution. There is, however, a right to bear arms guaranteed by the Constitution, which is why something as flimsy as a no-fly list shouldn't tell you whether or not you can actually purchase a firearm, especially, again, when there's no due process. But I kind of repeated myself at that point. Believe it or not, sir, we are actually already coming up to the end of the show. So just in case we've got some folks that maybe hadn't heard too much about the Libertarian Party before now, or maybe you're interested in finding any ways that they can help, are there any ways that they can get involved, anywhere where they can donate, anything that they can do to help you guys continue to get the message out, any type of grassroots movements you guys have going on, those type of things?
Absolutely. They can visit LP.org, like the Libertarian Party on Facebook, follow at LP National on Twitter. If you want to find out more about Gary Johnson, Gary Johnson 2016 is his website. It has links to all the social media. If you want to follow the stuff I'm doing, just search for Nicholas Sarwark on Facebook. My politician page is there. I'm at @NSarwark on Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat and God knows how many other social media presences. Go to lp.org, look at your state, see how you can get involved. The truth is that we are one of the only political parties, we're probably the only political party in this country that really is just normal Americans trying to make their communities better for their kids, trying to make it so that, more people have more freedoms all the time, and trying to push back against the bullies who want to try and fight over which one of them gets to control your life. So if that's something that appeals to you or your listeners, just get involved at the local level. Try it out. See how you like it. I think most people find it pretty refreshing that it's an honest politics that's actually working to make America better and not just an argument over which special interests get the corporate favors.
All right, folks. Well, believe it or not, we are to the end of the show. And one last thing, just to kind of give you my first impression of libertarianism. I had mentioned that friend of that we kind of have in common, Steve Long, who was the head of the party here for a little bit here in Oklahoma. When I first started getting to know him a little bit, and I asked him about the libertarian movement, he actually shared a meme with me that I thought was kind of comical and still fits pretty well. It actually was a little print picture, and it says the libertarian movement or the Libertarian Party plotting to take over the world and leave you alone. I think that kind of pretty much sums up the Libertarian Party in a picture.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We just want to give you your own life back.
All right. Well, Mr. Sarwark, it has been an honor having you on the show this evening. You are welcome back anytime. Just touch base anytime you want to come back on. It will be an honor to have you back on with us anytime you'd like. At this point, folks, we are going to have to cut it short. We're about out of time. Got to do the top of the hour stuff, pay a few more bills, all that other fun stuff. As a reminder, I will be live with you again tomorrow night right here on America Off the Rails, and I will see you when I see you. Have a good night, and God bless.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls, start saving thousands in interest and fees, and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
Hi, this is Pistol Packing Diana from Red Nation Rising, Oklahoma, and you're listening to Red Nation Rising Radio.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.